Wang Lin stared at Quezi and spoke in a deep voice. That's not the star cultivation crystal. And with your ability to teleport, I'm sure it's not as bad as you say, even if you're injured. Quezi laughed heartily, a hint of admiration in his eyes, and said, as expected of one of the four I chose. Indeed, that's not the star cultivation crystal. The moment I arrived here, I knew it was the star guide. To retrieve your life soul, you only need to touch it, and it will pull your life soul back. Wang Lin's gaze remained calm, and he didn't speak. He just quietly watched Quezi, slowly tightening his grip on the billion soul banner in his hand. I'm not deceiving you. Using the star guide to pull back the life soul requires a great cost, which is why I had you help me retrieve it. If you agree, I will give you a treasure in return. Deep beneath my immortal remnant clan's grounds, there is an ancient altar where our void ancestor gained the power to elevate from 11 leaves to 12 leaves. You help me retrieve the life soul, and I'll send you there to enhance your cultivation. How about it? Quezi spoke in a deep voice. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a trace of contemplation. Quezi seemed a bit anxious and impatient, saying, Wang Lin, go up and take the star cultivation crystal. Don't force me to act. You know, I don't want to kill you. Wang Lin glanced at Quezi and said, what if you go back on your word? Tell me how to use that straw hat as a deposit. Wang Lin had kept the straw hat Quezi gave him many years ago in his storage pouch. However, the hat contained many complicated formations, and without the method to use it, he couldn't fully control it. Quezi's eyes flickered, realizing that Wang Lin wouldn't escape today and would have to follow his instructions. He then took out a jade slip, concentrated for a few moments, and threw it to Wang Lin. Wang Lin caught it without haste, confirming it was real before putting it into his storage pouch. Then, his body moved, and he wielded the billion soul banner, transforming into a streak of rainbow light as he sped toward the tower above. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of the legendary vermilion bird patriarch. Looking at this former hero, Wang Lin silently gazed at him, particularly noticing a quick scan of the shadow behind him. His gaze then fell on the purple orb. Standing next to the purple light sphere, Wang Lin was illuminated by its glow. Yet, curiously, there was no shadow cast on the ground. Place your hand on it and call my name. Don't try any tricks, or today I will definitely kill you. Quezi's eyes flashed as he spoke quickly. Wang Lin took a deep breath, lowered his gaze to Quezi, and whispered, I once thought you were my benefactor, Wang Lin. Even when I found out you were from the Immortal Remnant clan, I never thought of opposing you, only wanting to leave Vermilion Birdstar and follow my path. Today, Senior, you've greatly disappointed me. I don't know if the star guide works as you say, but I do know one thing. If I follow your words, I may not need you to act. I'll probably die immediately. As Wang Lin spoke these words, Quezi's expression changed, his body flashing as he prepared to rush out. Wang Lin shook the billion soul banner in his hand, and countless souls howled as they surged out, immediately spreading in all directions. At the same time, Wang Lin quickly retreated and let out a low growl. All the souls within the billion soul banner charged toward the shadow behind the legendary vermilion bird patriarch seat. In an instant, the shadow behind the vermilion bird patriarch began to crack with eerie cracking sounds. Then, a sinister laugh echoed from within, and a red light flashed wildly. The shadow collapsed, and the sinister elder stepped out. The tiny monkey on his shoulder moved with incredible speed, leaping toward Quezi. Quezi's face turned dark, his body halting. He waved his hands in the air, and golden runes immediately materialized from nothing, swirling around him. Little fellow, this formation of yours has some merit. Using the residual power of this dead person, combined with your cultivation, you've created a shadow seal to trap me within it. This kind of shadow seal technique is extremely rare, even in ancient times. For you to master, it is not simple. If the master's true body were to descend, a single punch would shatter it. But now, with only a fragment of his consciousness attempting to seize the soul, you've trapped him for a moment. Accomplishing this in your life is enough to boast about in your next one. The sinister elder's eyes glowed red. Quezi snorted, and all the runes around him surged out violently. His target was not the sinister elder, but the tiny monkey charging at him. Just a puppet. I'll destroy the hiding place of your true consciousness. Even if your true body is stronger, it won't make it in time now. Quezi growled. When Wang Lin had previously scanned with his divine sense, he noticed the shadow behind Yuyo. Upon standing here, he realized there was no shadow cast by him, which made him feel uneasy. That's when he decided to take a gamble. If he failed, he had already planned to hide in the heaven reversal space immediately. As for the matter of the star guide that Quezi mentioned, Wang Lin speculated that its function should indeed be as Quezi said, but the cost seems to be a life for a life. If that weren't the case, Quezi would have already gone to retrieve it himself, so there's no reason to wait until now. Wang Lin believed that even if the third person to enter wasn't himself, Quezi would still send them to fetch the life soul. The moment the sinister elder burst out of the shadow, Wang Lin's soul banner trembled in his hand. His soul immediately gathered around him, enveloping his body and pulling him away from the side. At this moment, neither the elder possessed by Sin nor Quezi was someone Wang Lin wanted to provoke. He was certain that without the star cultivation crystal here, his only choice was to leave quickly. However, just then, the entire area trembled violently, as though the heavens were collapsing and the earth splitting apart. The treasure pagoda above him cracked with a series of sharp sounds. The collapse of the star cultivation crystal had begun once again. A crack appeared on the pagoda, slithering like a dragon from the bottom to the top. As it moved, a constant cracking noise echoed in the air. Eventually, this crack reached the top of the pagoda and extended to the throne where Yi Wuyo, the vermilion bird patriarch, had once sat. Suddenly, a crisp sound rang out. The throne shattered, and as it fell from the pagoda, Yi Wuyo's body trembled, turning to flying ashes and vanishing into nothingness. Wang Lin's pupils contracted sharply. At this moment, not just him, but also Quezi, the sinister elder, and the tiny monkey all stopped their confrontation and focused on the place where Yi Wuyo had turned to dust. A small white crystal, no bigger than half a fist, slowly floated up from the spot where Yi Wuyo had disintegrated. The instant Wang Lin saw the white crystal, he immediately sensed a soul-binding aura emanating from it. Star cultivation crystal. Quezi gasped in shock. His figure flickered, attempting to charge forward, but the tiny monkey was even faster, rushing ahead with the sinister elder following closely. Wang Lin, who was at a greater distance, knew he couldn't outrun them. His gaze locked onto the white crystal. He gritted his teeth and, without attempting to seize it, enveloped himself with the soul banner and rushed towards a nearby passage. Wang Lin understood that with his current strength, he had no right to compete for it in front of Quezi and the person who had been possessed by Sin's fragment of consciousness. Even if he managed to grab it, he wouldn't have time to retrieve his life soul, and it would only lead to his demise. With a sigh, Wang Lin quickly sped towards the passage. The sinister elder, who was closer, seized the white crystal in a flash. Laughing wildly, he shouted, "The day of the master's escape is near." However, just as his hand clasped the crystal, his expression suddenly changed. The laughter stopped abruptly, and a look of disbelief appeared on his face. Just as he was about to release his grip, his body flickered slightly and, to his astonishment, turned into wisps of smoke, rapidly entering the white crystal. This all happened so quickly that in the blink of an eye, the elder vanished completely, leaving only a red glow in the air, which fused with the rushing tiny monkey. The tiny monkey screeched, and its aura suddenly surged, increasing several times over. It now possessed power comparable to that of Quezi, reaching the late stage of its cultivation. Though the tiny monkey was close to the crystal, it hesitated for a moment and didn't reach out to grab it. At this point, Quezi appeared, grabbing at the air, but as soon as he did, he let out a painful grunt. White mist emanated from his body, and he immediately withdrew his hand, fearful of the consequences. Thankfully, he had only grasped the air and not physically touched it. Otherwise, he would have surely faced disaster. This sudden change, without any prior warning, threw both the tiny monkey and Quezi into a difficult situation. At that moment, the white crystal emitted a humming sound and, in the blink of an eye, shot towards Quezi. His face changed dramatically as he quickly dodged, but the crystal didn't stop. It turned and shot straight towards Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. The strange disappearance of the sinister elder flashed in his mind. He quickly turned around and rushed towards the passage. His body was enveloped in the soul banner, and his speed was considerably faster than usual. The passage wasn't a straight line, but the white crystal seemed to have its own consciousness, chasing Wang Lin relentlessly, as if determined not to stop until it caught him. Quezi's face was dark with fury as his body flickered, chasing after the crystal. The tiny monkey also moved like a shadow, streaking through the air to follow. In the blink of an eye, the area around the pagoda was empty. Just then, a purple-black light gathered from the top of the pagoda, slowly taking shape into a human figure. It was the masked one who had been seen on Spirit Mountain. A hint of confusion appeared in his eyes, but it quickly cleared, and he murmured, "The star cultivation crystal has collapsed." This vermilion bird patriarch is quite bold. As Wang Lin ran, the white crystal followed closely behind. Moreover, its speed grew faster and faster, often closing the distance in the blink of an eye. It seemed that in no time, it would be within 3 zhang. At that moment, Wang Lin suddenly turned around, his eyes gleaming coldly. His right hand formed a seal, and with a swift motion, he struck backward, channeling his immortal power. A strange wind immediately began to rise, blowing toward the white crystal stone. However, the crystal stone, in a flash, broke through the strange wind and shot forward at an incredible speed. In an instant, it was close to Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin gritted his teeth, retreating swiftly while extending his right hand through the air to grab the crystal. He was about to throw it away, but then he realized he felt no discomfort at all. Stunned for a moment, his gaze flickered. Without hesitation, he dashed forward again. But just then, an unusual force suddenly shot from the white crystal stone. It followed the path of Wang Lin's outstretched right hand and, in the blink of an eye, entered his body. The force exploded in his mind like a thunderclap. Strange symbols immediately appeared in his mind. These symbols acted like bolts of lightning, flashing wildly and drilling into Wang Lin's mind. This sensation was not unfamiliar to him. He had experienced something similar when he received the ancient god's inheritance from 2C in the ancient god ruins years ago. The symbols in his mind flashed uncontrollably, and scenes began to echo through Wang Lin's consciousness. The first scene revealed a man, full of dignified and proud energy, standing on a massive star compass. This star compass was a deep purple-black, crackling with strange electrical light. As it moved through the starry sky, thunderous booms echoed in its wake. In front of this man floated a grand immortal pavilion in the starry sky, with 3 large characters clearly written on it. Celestial Seal Mansion. The man moved swiftly, stepping into the pavilion in the blink of an eye. Stop! A voice, emanating from the void, slowly spread out from the pavilion. The voice was filled with boundless authority, causing anyone who heard it to tremble in their hearts. Yet, the middle-aged man remained unfazed, clasping his hands in salute and saying, "I am Yi Wuyo, a new 6th-level cultivator from the Vermilion Bird Kingdom under the Cultivation Alliance's orders, here to claim the Vermilion Bird Seal Art." Wang Lin's body trembled. At this moment, his entire mind seemed to be pulled into a vortex, fully immersed in the scene. But his steps, instead of slowing, became even more bizarre. A red glow suddenly appeared beneath his feet, and a vast power exploded outward from Wang Lin's body. This power did not originate from him, but rather from the red glow beneath his feet. As the red glow flickered, Wang Lin's body sped up rapidly, moving through the passage with an unbelievable speed. Behind him, Quezi gasped in shock, his face contorted with disbelief. The Vermilion Bird Seal. How could Zhang Niu emit the aura of the Vermilion Bird Seal? In Wang Lin's mind, the scene continued. The imposing man entered the immortal pavilion, which seemed to have countless layers. He stopped on the 3rd floor. The Vermilion Bird Seal, a low-level divine art, is a form of inheritance that can only be activated by a sealed cultivator. The voice from the void transmitted out again. At the same time, a red glowing seal slowly formed in the air. The seal was complex and intricate, and as Wang Lin gazed at it, he suddenly felt that it resembled the skull runes of the immortal remnant clan. But upon closer inspection, it was entirely different, creating a strange feeling. The seal slowly floated toward the man, merging with him at his brow center. A sharp pain suddenly shot through Wang Lin's brow center, a pain unlike anything he had ever experienced, as if his soul was being branded. In that moment, he seemed to lose himself, transforming into the imposing man. Waves of intense pain continuously surged, and Wang Lin couldn't help but roar in agony. His body moved even faster, the red glow around him becoming blinding. Behind him, Quezi's disbelief deepened as he stared at Wang Lin, wrapped in red light, rushing forward. He muttered, This is the Vermilion Bird inheritance. How could this happen? Without the Vermilion Bird Patriarch's approval, without the Star Cultivation Core's integration, how could this child experience the Vermilion Bird inheritance? As for the tiny monkey, its eyes gleamed red as it stared at Wang Lin, revealing a sinister intent. Wang Lin's roars echoed through the passage. His figure, like lightning, suddenly shot out of the passage, appearing at the ocean's surface in a flash. He did not stop, rushing directly toward the sea. At this moment, his entire body was enveloped in red light, and the aura of the Vermilion Bird spread throughout the surroundings. His eyes had long since lost their clarity, replaced with darkness and struggle. In his mind, the pain hit him in waves, each one more intense than the last, pushing him to the brink of unbearable agony. His veins bulged, and his eyes were bloodshot. The injury suppressed within his body could no longer be controlled and suddenly erupted. However, under the sweep of the crimson glow, the injuries were immediately forced deep once again. A majestic voice echoed in Wang Lin's mind. Do you wish to become the titled Vermilion Bird, to guard the Vermilion Bird Star until your life essence fades into the void? The voice rang like a thunderclap in Wang Lin's mind, and amidst the rumbling sound, clarity appeared in his eyes. At this moment, he felt as if, by simply agreeing, he could obtain the Vermilion Bird Seal's inheritance. Though his cultivation was only at the early infant metamorphosis stage, with the Vermilion Bird Seal, he could fight against even the most powerful cultivators. No, Wang Lin answered in his mind. Wang Lin's pursuit was not to remain in one place, becoming the sole Vermilion Bird of an era. As his response echoed in his mind, he vaguely heard a sigh. Then, the crimson glow quickly retreated, ultimately condensing on his right hand, on top of the white crystal stone. Along with the retreating glow, the marks in Wang Lin's mind vanished as well, fading away like the ebbing tide, as if they had never existed. Life soul. Wang Lin immediately shouted in his heart. One life for one life. The voice echoed again, gradually dissipating. But in Wang Lin's mind, a strange symbol emitted a faint glow. Sensing this symbol, Wang Lin's heart suddenly gained insight. To retrieve his life soul from the star cultivation crystal, he had to exchange one life for another. This was the only method. The alternative was to wait for the life soul to be absorbed and fused by those spiritual entities, and then kill the spiritual entity to claim the life soul. However, the second method relied on chance. In the vast sea of life souls, finding his own was a matter of pure fortune, something that could not be forced. At this moment, Wang Lin's body shot out from the surface of the sea, with Quezi following closely behind. As for the tiny monkey, hidden by Tua since split consciousness, it had disappeared without a trace. The moment he broke through the sea's surface, Wang Lin's mind was completely restored to clarity. He was certain now NATO had lied. This object had nothing to do with the extreme realm, and it certainly couldn't lead to its evolution. Without hesitation, Wang Lin threw the white crystal stone into the air and shouted, "This is the star cultivation crystal." He threw it directly towards the place where Qian, Feng, and Lu Mei were waiting. They had been waiting outside, and when they saw Wang Lin and the others break through, Qian Feng was about to summon the final treasure given to him by the Vermilion Bird Patriarch. Suddenly, a white glow flew towards him from Wang Lin's hand. His eyes flashed, and he didn't immediately grab it, but then he regretted it. He saw that Quezi had suddenly increased his speed, passed through Wang Lin, and charged straight for the crystal stone. Qian Feng gritted his teeth, and without a word, he slapped his storage pouch. Instantly, a bronze effigy appeared in his hand, covered in countless tiny black dots. A faint black glow spread from those dots. After summoning this treasure, Qian Feng formed hand seals. Suddenly, his face flashed red, and he spat out a mouthful of blood, which fell directly onto the bronze effigy. At that moment, the effigy immediately absorbed all the blood, emitting a black-red glow that slowly expanded into a purple aura. Quezi's advancing figure halted abruptly. His face darkened as he stared at the bronze effigy. "Vermilion Bird Patriarch," Quezi said in a low voice. As his words fell, Qian Feng's body suddenly trembled. Then, streams of white light swiftly emanated from his 7 orifices, all uncontrollably being absorbed by the bronze effigy. Fear appeared in Qian Feng's eyes. He suddenly raised his right hand, holding a jade slip, which he crushed with a snap. As the jade slip shattered, a powerful force gathered in front of Qian Feng, and with a loud bang, his body was thrown 10 zhang away. The white light from his nose and mouth quickly dissipated, with half of it returning to his body. The bronze effigy absorbed a large amount of white vapor, melting into a puddle of bronze liquid. But immediately, the liquid began to boil, and red smoke rose from it. In midair, it suddenly condensed into a humanoid shape, transforming into the Vermilion Bird Patriarch. At this moment, the Vermilion Bird Patriarch no longer appeared as aged as before, but had a slightly more vibrant complexion. "Junior, this game is just beginning. I borrowed Qian Feng's life to manifest here, and now it's time for us to have a good gathering," he said, raising his hand. The white crystal stone instantly flew into his hand like lightning. The Vermilion Bird Patriarch held the crystal stone, suddenly pressed it to his forehead, and the crystal stone fused into his body. Quezi's face was grim as he snorted softly, his hands waving in front of him. Symbols flashed, and the oppressive aura they released was astonishing. The vermilion bird patriarch laughed loudly, his body moving. At once, a thick crimson mist surrounded him, swirling and rolling. Within a 10-mile radius, it enveloped everything, including Quezi. Amidst the crimson mist, waves of magical energy surged rapidly, emanating outward. The battle between Quezi and Vermilion Bird Patriarch unfolded. However, the mist obscured the scene, making it impossible for outsiders to see clearly. What Vermilion Bird Patriarch did not notice was that, as the red mist spread, the tiny monkey's figure flashed and swiftly darted into the mist, disappearing without a trace. At this moment, 5 people remained outside the mist: Feng, Mei, Zhou Wutai, Xian, and lastly, Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes flashed with killing intent. He reached out and grabbed the air with his right hand. Instantly, the billion-soul banner appeared in his grasp. With a sinister glare, he fixed his eyes on Feng and Mei, slowly speaking, "Die." Thank heavens I didn't listen to him. If I had summoned the bronze effigy during the battle, before I could even kill my enemies, I'd have been drained dry by it. Feng gritted his teeth. However, now was not the time to dwell on Vermilion Bird Patriarch. The most important thing right now was how to deal with the murderous intent in front of him. In fact, Vermilion Bird Patriarch had been eyeing Feng for a long time. If it hadn't been for the sudden emergence of the Immortal Remnant clan, given a little more time, Vermilion Bird Patriarch might have found a way to avoid the Heavenly Tao reincarnation's life essence severing calamity and instead seize Feng's life essence for himself. Since Feng was young, Vermilion Bird Patriarch had been executing this plan. He made Feng devour various states of comprehension, experiencing the insights of those who understood the Heavenly Tao. He didn't do this for Feng, but mostly for himself. The technique he used on Feng was a secret method studied by past Vermilion Bird Patriarchs over generations. The method had not yet been perfected, with less than a 10% chance of success. Even if it succeeded, it would only temporarily delay the inevitable, gaining a few more decades of life. At a great cost, of course. The bronze effigy was the key to this method. It was crafted by the 4th generation of Vermilion Bird Patriarch, using celestial iron and refined over countless years, continuously enhanced by later generations. In the end, it gained the ability to absorb and condense life essence into some mystical powers. The true reason the bronze effigy possessed these powers was largely due to the transformations in the star cultivation crystal, which had been understood and refined over the generations by the Vermilion Bird Patriarchs. However, this item was still incomplete and had many fatal flaws. For example, right now, while Vermilion Bird Patriarch seemed full of life by using the effigy to take form, in reality, he was at his limit, only temporarily holding on. Wang Lin gave the billion-soul banner a shake, and countless souls immediately screeched out from within, filling the skies like black whirlwinds. The eerie wails of ghosts and wolves reverberated through the air. Merge. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with killing intent. With a single word, the surrounding souls immediately merged. In the blink of an eye, 6 primary souls, each stronger than the average late-stage infant metamorphosis cultivator, appeared. Among them, the remnant soul of a Qian. I don't need to merge into the ascendant stage to fight you too. Wang Lin's gaze flickered. With emotion, he slapped his storage pouch, and the battle axe immediately appeared in his hand. With a swing, he shot into the air, immediately slashing downward. Feng's face changed drastically. He slapped his storage pouch, and the vermilion bird spike appeared in his hand. A flash of red lightning surged from it, transforming into a long rainbow as it shot toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression turned cold. With a wave of his battle axe, a fierce axe light shot out. At the same time, he roared and threw the axe forward. A thunderous crash tore through the air, and the battle axe screamed as it flew forward. The electrical aura emanating from the vermilion bird spike shattered, and the battle axe descended upon it. Feng's eyes flashed with viciousness. He growled lowly and formed seals with his hands. As the battle axe approached, a brilliant red glow suddenly erupted from his body. The vermilion bird profound formation activated. A sound that pierced the heavens echoed through the sky. Feng staggered backward, spitting out blood. His upper body clothes shredded apart, disintegrating into ash. On his chest, a strange symbol suddenly appeared. The battle axe was struck back by a tremendous force. Wang Lin leaped into the air, grabbing the axe. The 6 primary souls released from the billion soul banner howled in unison, splitting into two. For rushed toward Lu Mei, while the remaining two charged at Qian Feng. Lu Mei's expression shifted slightly. She warily glanced at the soul banner, then gritted her teeth. A flash of silver light escaped her mouth, transforming into a white ribbon in the air. On the ribbon was a pattern outlined in golden threads. With a flick of the ribbon, it wrapped around Lu Mei's body, creating a gap in the four primary souls. She was immediately enveloped in the white ribbon, becoming a white streak that sped away into the distance. Chase. Kill. Wang Lin whispered fiercely. The four primary souls, including the Qian remnant soul, flashed and pursued madly. Qian Feng faced the assault of the two primary souls, retreating step by step. His expression darkened as he slapped his storage pouch, immediately producing a red fan in his hand. Spitting out a mouthful of blood onto the fan, he swung it violently. A fierce hurricane immediately burst through the air, sweeping furiously in all directions. This hurricane seemed to specifically target the soul and spirit, causing the two primary souls to slow down momentarily. Wang Lin sneered coldly, slapping his storage pouch. Four identical sword sheaths appeared before him. A cold gleam flashed in Wang Lin's eyes as he pointed forward. The four sword sheaths, like meteors, immediately shot out, their sword lights bursting forth from within, transforming into 3-foot-long blades, emanating an overwhelming sword intent. Shatter. Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly, and the four sword sheaths roared forward, sword intent raging. Qian Feng's face changed drastically. He threw the fan forward and retreated, trying to escape. However, as soon as the fan appeared next to the sword sheaths, it was instantly shredded by them. The impact was fierce, and the fan was relentlessly pursued. Without the fan to hinder them, the two primary souls accelerated, quickly catching up to Qian Feng. With a single strike, Qian Feng's body trembled as his nascent soul was violently shaken, almost leaving his body. Fortunately, in the nick of time, a pattern on his chest flashed, activating the vermilion bird profound formation, which blocked the two primary souls' assault. Qian Feng's face was pale, and he suddenly spun around, shouting, "Zhang Niu, don't force my hand." As he shouted, he spit out a beam of green light that swiftly transformed into a piece of greenwood. The greenwood radiated an eerie aura, and with the wind, it rapidly grew until it transformed into a massive tree about 10 zhang tall. Carve. Qian Feng's face turned ashen as he yelled. The greenwood trembled, and fragments of it fell off, as though an invisible hand was carving it. In an instant, a figure appeared on the wood. It was Wang Lin's image. Destroy. Qian Feng roared once again, his face pale as death, his body trembling. His lifespan had been severely drained, and in the face of Wang Lin, he was clearly at a disadvantage. At the moment Qian Feng shouted, "Destroy," Wang Lin's charge suddenly halted. His expression shifted as an invisible force emanated from the greenwood. Then, he saw a green blade flash out from it, heading straight for his head. A shadow of death immediately enveloped Wang Lin. Qian Feng was, after all, at the mid-infant metamorphosis stage, and as a disciple of the vermilion bird patriarch, his treasures were not to be underestimated. Compared to Wang Lin, he likely had far more powerful artifacts. Wang Lin had never heard of this greenwood before. Its mysterious nature made it almost impossible to defend against. At this moment, as he tried to retreat, he found himself trapped by a strange force, unable to move. The green light flickered, already closing in. Qian Feng smirked with a cruel smile. Wang Lin's gaze remained calm, and with a thought, a primary soul immediately appeared before him. It exploded with a bang. The soul's self-detonation unleashed a terrifying aura, spreading violently. The restraints around Wang Lin collapsed, and his body immediately shot out, narrowly avoiding the green light. Qian Feng's eyes filled with unwillingness, and without a word, he turned and fled. Wang Lin would not let him escape. He grasped the air with his right hand, and the billion soul banner instantly appeared in his grasp. With a shake, countless souls screamed out. "Seal!" Wang Lin shouted, and all the souls immediately scattered. Suddenly, within a 10-mile radius, these souls formed a massive encirclement, trapping Qian Feng inside. At the same time, Wang Lin swept his battle axe through the air, striking the massive green tree. The tree trembled and split in two. Qian Feng spat out another mouthful of blood, his face paling. "Die!" Wang Lin growled as he swung his giant axe. Simultaneously, the sword light from the four sword sheaths erupted, the swords howling as they shot toward Qian Feng from the four cardinal directions with earth-shattering momentum. But that wasn't all. Wang Lin shook the billion soul banner once more. The banner trembled and turned into countless shining particles, dispersing into the surrounding souls. A powerful binding force immediately surged from the souls, creating a crushing pressure that fell from the sky. Even a teleport would be affected by this pressure. Qian Feng's eyes filled with fear, but he immediately roared, "Zhang Niu, we have no great enmity. Why must you drive me to death?" Wang Lin's gaze was as sharp as a blade, and he spoke each word with precision. "I'm killing you because I promised the crimson butterfly." Qian Feng laughed maniacally, shouting, "Zhang Niu, without this billion-soul banner, I could kill you with ease. You forced this upon me. Today, even if I die, I will destroy this billion-soul banner." Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with cold light as he softly muttered, "Die." From the 4 cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west, 4 sword chi pierced the air, causing a deafening roar. Their target was none other than Qian Feng. The 4 sword chi carried with them a tremendous force, as if they could shatter the void itself. Qian Feng's face twisted in a snarl as he took a deep breath. The vermilion bird profound formation was fully activated, and a red halo immediately appeared, surrounding his body with a dense, flickering glow. At the same time, he slapped his storage pouch and carefully retrieved an item. It was an iron sword. An iron sword, rusty, and seemingly ordinary, like something from the mundane world. The rust spots on it emitted a strong, bloodthirsty odor. Clearly, these rust stains had been formed by absorbing blood. This sword was secretly left behind by my Qian family's ancestor, the previous vermilion bird patriarch. Even this generation's vermilion bird patriarch does not know about it. Meng Tuozi, I have the vermilion bird profound formation, and if you cannot break this formation, you will never be able to kill me. Now, with this sword, I can kill you. The moment the iron sword appeared, even from afar, the vermilion bird patriarch and the Quezi were both shaken. Wang Lin's eyes flashed like lightning, fixated on the sword, or more precisely, the rust on it. There are a few drops of dried blood on it. This blood has a very familiar aura. Ancient God's blood. This is true ancient God's blood, far purer than the mixed blood of the giant demon clan. Wang Lin gasped, his eyes gleaming with intense light as he stared at the rust stains. No, wait. How could the ancient god be harmed by an ordinary object? This sword, it can actually absorb ancient God's blood. It cannot be an ordinary item. Wang Lin's gaze sharpened, his attention fully on the sword. The moment the iron sword appeared, a figure walked out of the sea below. His arrival went unnoticed by anyone, as though he were completely invisible. This person was none other than the masked one. His eyes flickered with an odd light as he fixed his gaze on the iron sword and murmured, "This is." With the iron sword summoned, Qian Feng was left with no choice. The sword was the most secretive treasure of the Qian family, hidden away since the previous vermilion bird patriarch had obtained it from an unknown source and secretly concealed it in the family. Before he left it, the previous vermilion bird patriarch had spoken these words. "This sword, with my cultivation, I cannot see through it. If my descendants are not facing extinction, they must never summon it." Since joining the vermilion bird patriarch, during the war with the immortal Renegade clan, Qian Feng had secretly gone to the hidden place where the iron sword was kept, quietly taking it. He wanted to kill Wang Lin, but he didn't fully trust the treasures the vermilion bird patriarch had given him. Therefore, he took out the iron sword, which he truly intended to use to fight against the billion-soul banner. At that moment, a sharp scream suddenly echoed from the red mist where the vermilion bird patriarch and Quezi were fighting. Almost instantly, a phantom figure flashed out of the mist, heading straight for Wang Lin and Qian Feng. In the blink of an eye, the phantom figure charged into the soul-formed encirclement. As it passed, all the souls obstructing its path let out piercing shrieks before instantly disintegrating. The phantom figure tore through them, leaving a long, empty path in its wake. In a flicker, the phantom entered the encirclement. Wang Lin's face changed, and he immediately retreated. But at that moment, an eerie laugh echoed from within the phantom, and suddenly, a red, ethereal figure materialized from within it. This figure casually waved toward Wang Lin, and he immediately coughed up a large mouthful of blood, his body flying like a meteor, hurtling more than 1,000 feet before he finally stabilized himself. Another mouthful of blood poured from him, and some internal organs even spilled out. The red phantom flickered, transforming into a man with bright red hair. His body was semi-transparent, and within it, a tiny monkey could be seen. Red light emanated from the monkey's body, forming the ethereal figure. "Tuasin," Wang Lin muttered bitterly, word by word. The phantom figure moved swiftly, and in the next instant, it appeared beside Qian Feng. Grabbing him, it threw him backward. The vermilion bird profound formation on Feng immediately activated, attempting to block the figure. However, as soon as the phantom figure grabbed him, the formation emitted a series of cracking sounds, and the formation was shattered with a single grip. Feng's face turned pale as the formation's destruction inflicted more damage upon him. After tossing Feng aside, the phantom figure seized the iron sword. After inspecting it carefully, he burst into wild laughter and said, "So it's this item. The blood on it is from my clan's 9-star clan members. Good. With the star cultivation crystal, this time, I'm certain I can break free." Wang Lin took a deep breath and stretched out his right hand. The billion soul banner formed in his grasp. With a flick, the souls within a 10-mile radius immediately howled and flew toward the banner. Simultaneously, his battle axe and sword sheath flew toward him as well. The phantom figure glanced at Wang Lin, a sinister smile creeping onto his lips as he said, "Little one, after I obtain the star cultivation crystal, I'll settle the score with you." As he spoke, he ran his right hand across the iron sword. Instantly, the rust coating the blade seemed to come alive, squirming and writhing until it converged into a single drop of dark red blood. The illusory shadow's eyes gleamed with joy. It swallowed the drop in one gulp, then seized the iron sword. With a flash, it vanished from sight, only to reappear amidst the crimson mist where the vermilion bird patriarch and Quezi were locked in fierce battle. From within the mist came the vermilion bird patriarch's startled cry and Quezi's furious roar. A violent surge of magical power erupted and spread rapidly. Feng, flung by the phantom, was severely wounded. Just as he barely managed to stabilize himself and prepare to flee, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He swept the soul banner in his hand, and in a flash, his entire body turned into a streak of black light, merging with the souls within the banner and shooting toward Feng like a dark tempest. "Trade Feng's life for my life soul, then get out of this vermilion bird tomb as fast as possible." Wang Lin roared inwardly. His speed surged to the limit, his body becoming a whirlwind of black soul energy. Countless souls surged around him, vast and overwhelming, wrapping Feng in their midst and trapping him. With a flash, Wang Lin appeared in front of Feng. His right hand jabbed forward, imprinting the void right between Feng's brows. Feng's face turned deathly pale. Madness filled his eyes. His vermilion bird profound formation was destroyed, the iron sword stolen, his magical treasures shattered, and even his life essence was drained. Now gravely injured and caught by Wang Lin, he had no hope of survival. "If I die, I'll drag you down with me." Feng's eyes burned with desperation. He began preparing to self-destruct. Wang Lin's gaze shimmered. He softly spat out, "Life soul." The violet glowing mark that had been lingering in his mind suddenly flared. It shot out from his brow and hovered in the air between him and Feng. To retrieve a life soul from the star cultivation crystal, a life must be exchanged for another. Just as Feng was about to detonate himself, he suddenly let out a pained groan. His eyes dimmed as the violet mark released a sinister glow. In that moment, 2 life souls emerged, one belonging to Wang Lin, the other to Feng. Feng's life soul began to collapse, while Wang Lin slowly dissipated. Eventually, it transformed into shimmering crystal dust, flowing like a river of stars into Wang Lin's brow. Wang Lin's body trembled. He could feel something new within himself, a sense of completeness resonating through his entire being. Feng, on the other hand, was dead before his self-destruction could even finish. For streaks of spiritual light suddenly burst from his forehead, flickering for a moment before fading into nothingness. Those 4 fading lights were none other than the 4 spirits of the 5 elements that Feng had devoured from the red butterfly. Cold light flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. With a sweep of his right hand, he snatched one of the 4 lights. The remaining 3 scattered into oblivion. Feng's corpse fell from midair and sank to the bottom of the sea. His storage pouch flew out, and Wang Lin grabbed it. The moment Feng died, Zhou Wutai and Purple Core, watching from afar, exchanged a glance. Zhou Wutai let out a quiet sigh. What he had meant to tell Wang Lin, he never got the chance. The hatred in Purple Core's eyes slowly faded. She watched as Feng's body sank into the sea, then suddenly burst out laughing. Her laughter brimmed with a hatred so vast it could drown the heavens. Feng. A chilling light flashed in her eyes as she sat cross-legged. Her hands formed strange seals, and her brow flickered several times. Around her, a number of puppet cultivators suddenly appeared, forming a protective circle. Furnace? Who is whose furnace, really? Wang Lin, in the end, you never saw through it. You killed Feng, but in doing so, fulfilled purple core, Zhou Wutai murmured, his expression complex as he looked at the meditating purple core. It's a pity. I still don't know what method Quezi used. That divine ability, utterly bizarre, utterly unknown. Even within the recently awakened Azure Dragon inheritance in my mind, there is no trace of such a technique. At that moment, Purple Core's face shimmered with multicolored light. A powerful aura slowly gathered around her, one that felt eerily similar to Qian Feng's. Wang Lin, wrapped in the soul banner, was just about to escape the golden ocean. But then, a thunderous explosion rang out from within the crimson mist released by the vermilion bird patriarch. Quezi's figure was hurled out at lightning speed, blood streaming from his mouth, his eyes dazed. As he staggered out of the mist, he nearly collapsed. Simultaneously, the vermilion bird patriarch was also flung away. His face was grim, his vitality gone, his expression filled with deathly stillness, and blood trickled from the corner of his lips. A crazed laugh echoed from within the crimson mist. Moments later, the mist dissipated, revealing Tuasin's split consciousness phantom. In his hand hovered the white crystal, and red light flashed madly in his eyes. You two little brats, once I break free, I'll make sure you experience the true power of Tuasin. Tuasin laughed loudly, his body flickering as he turned into a streak of lightning, heading straight for Wang Lin. Wang Lin, now it's your turn. Tuasin's voice carried a chilling coldness that echoed in Wang Lin's ears. His body shuddered, and he immediately enveloped himself with the soul banner, racing forward at full speed. But Tuasin was faster. In the blink of an eye, he caught up to Wang Lin, his sinister voice whispering in Wang Lin's ear. You can't escape, Wang Lin. I've been waiting a long time to devour your memory inheritance. Wang Lin's face darkened. With a flip of his right hand, the battle axe appeared. Suddenly, he spun around, pouring all his immortal power into it and struck with a ferocious blow. A massive axe radiance, dozens of yards long, surged with immortal power, tearing through the air as if it were splitting the heavens themselves. However, Tuasin's phantom flickered, his red eyes flashing as he lightly extended his right index finger. In an instant, the axe radiance shattered. Wang Lin immediately retreated, his face pale. He put away the battle axe and took out the billion soul banner, giving it a shake. In a cold voice, he said, merge. As soon as the word left his mouth, the souls within the billion soul banner, except those chasing after Lu Mei, immediately began to merge at a frantic pace. The fusion was so fast, it seemed to happen in an instant.